We're going to be talking today about CLEAR, and CLEAR is a Cornwall-based charity providing high-quality care and support for all people of all ages and all gender impacted by abuse and other trauma. In partnership with other organisations, Inside Out support people who are not working with their health and training. We last spoke with Laura about the Shed to Shed project, and to talk to us more about Inside Out today is CLEAR Wellbeing Coach Sean Woods. Thank you for coming on today, Sean.
Thank you for having me.
Bit mad, excuse the question for the nation there, as it's not something you expect to see, is it? I love that. We're getting ready to go, and then we're talking about kissing. Anyway, we won't do that.
It's a nice subject. It's a nice subject, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's a nice subject.
It's a nice subject. Oh, fair enough. I felt put on the spot myself. Anyway, we're talking about obviously CLEAR today. So can I ask you, what does your role as a wellbeing coach include? I think I've talked to other wellbeing coaches before, but it's nice to get a bit of different perspective. Maybe some people do things a little bit different. And could you tell us a little bit about what you're getting up to as well?
Okay, so Inside Out, Coast to Coast, is an extension of the Inside Out West Cornwall project, which was launched last year. We started late October, early November of last year, and we try to support people who are over 18, unemployed, with an accent on people who were really struggling on the back of the pandemic and COVID, people whose mental health had been affected by it. So with my experience and skills in the sort of supporting people in employment and back to work, I was brought in to look after people's needs and help them move towards it's progression, really. You want to see people coming out of the pandemic and coming out of the COVID restrictions and moving forward with their lives. So many people, I think there was a statistic which was aired yesterday, that 4 million people's mental health had been affected by the COVID restrictions.
That's a heck of a lot.
So you can imagine, even down here in Cornwall, we live in a beautiful place, you know, but people were restricted with what they could do behind closed doors for a long time. There's a lot of people who needed our support, and I'm here to help them.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, like you said, that's a huge number, that. And I think, like you said, the pandemic has really sort of, it's done a lot of damage mentally to a lot more people than already had some problems. And I think it's also heightened our awareness of people going through mental health problems at the same time, which is good on one side, so at least we can actually do something about it. So Inside Out, what does the project itself help with?
So we are there basically to help anybody who is over 18, who is unemployed. It is postcode eligible, so the funding goes to certain postcodes in the coast to coast area, which covers Falmouth, Penryn, Truro, Redruth, Illogan, Camborne. So all those areas are covered to a certain extent by the postcode eligibility. So the idea is that we talk to individuals, we assess what their training needs are, what their ambitions are, what their goals are, and try to bring together an individual action plan to move them forward to those goals. My particular expertise is around employment skills, so I would look at their, CVs, their employability skills, their what they've done before, what they want to do, and again, tailor an individual package to help them achieve their goals. And we can also look at, there's lots of external support and external funding across the board, across Cornwall, which we can access, because most of the target is to get unemployed people off universal credit and back into work. And there's a lot of work out there at the moment. People say, there is a lot of work, but it's finding the right job at the right time for people.
Yeah, and something you said there about tailoring packages for people, because everyone's individual. Everyone's got their own needs, their own requirements, their own positives, their own negatives that needs working on. And I find there's too many sort of one-size-fits-all attempts, and it just doesn't work, does it?
No, not at all. Everybody is individual. I mean, there are actually across the UK, there is a vacancy for every unemployed person out there. Wow. But that doesn't mean to say that those vacancies are right for each person. So what we've got is we've brought together accredited training packages. We've got Get Into Care, we've got Get Into Construction, and we've got Get Into Support Work. And all of those packages are accredited. So if an employer is looking for somebody with training skills, they've gone through a training package which would give them those skills to walk into work tomorrow. And so if you look at the Get Into Support work, there's a 3-year, there's a lifetime safeguarding award there, which at level 3, which not many places can provide these days, you know, because of the money it costs to train people. And one of the big things I've always set my stall out is that there's not a lot of training goes on in employment these days. So it's vitally important that funding is available to train people to get them back into work, because once they get into the work, a lot of people get stuck in a rut. They don't, you know, they're not offered training by employers because it costs money. Yeah. And what that actually does, it causes, it blocks jobs, it blocks progression from people moving into and out of different sectors. So the idea of equipping people with training is a good thing because it helps them to move on.
Exactly, and people usually, more often than not, are willing to train. They want to get better at what they're doing. It's usually something they like. That's what they want to do, and if you like and you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to get better at something.
I did a fantastic 2-day online course last week, which was provided, you know, fully funded by CLEAR, mental health first aid. And if you'd have said to me I was looking forward to a Monday and Tuesday online, the Friday before, I would have been lying.
Yeah.
I was, but it was a fantastic course. It was engaging. It was provided by Mental Health First Aid England. And that recognition that, you know, I need to know about these things. I need to know what I'm dealing with. I need to know what is best up-to-date practice and how I can help people in my. And that's just an example of how CLEAR operates and how we can not only support our own employers, but potential employees out there. People who are not in the employment, or who are in the labour market, but not in employment, but are a valuable resource that we need to bring into the employment market.
Brilliant, yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to actually ask you about a chap called Pops that participated in the project. What's his story? Fantastic
story, and probably pretty typical of the type of person that, you know, our project was set up to support. He's a veteran, Army veteran of Iraq tours. Found himself jobless and homeless, not really through any fault of his own during the pandemic, and moved from the north down here into temporary accommodation. He's still in temporary accommodation, but he came to us. He was and I must have mentioned Turn to Starboard here, who were a mental health charity based in Falmouth, who supported him as an Army veteran, and they referred him to our project because of our focus on training. He wanted to get back into construction, which he's got a background into. He came to us, and with another chap called Matthew, he did a little community project at CLEAR, which transformed a little grotty area of our offices with a lot of liquor paint and a lot of hard work. And left the place, made a big impression on our staff as well because of his positivity. And then he moved into a 2-week construction training course, which gave him the ability to get back on the tools, as he was calling it, back with a group of like-minded people. Nice. It gave him his accredited training, his CSCS card, which every labourer or ground worker needs in the country to work on construction sites. And then after he got that, he worked very, very closely with me for several days, getting his CV together, identifying jobs, identifying workplaces. And within a couple of days of him doing that and uploading his CV, he was getting several calls.
Fantastic.
A day.
Wow.
And in the end, he had a choice of employers he could go to. And through the last 2 weeks, he's been working with a team, with a groundworks team up in Plymouth. He's up every day at 6 o'clock gets a lift from Falmouth, where he lives in temporary accommodation, to Plymouth.
Wow.
But the company he's working for now told him they'll put him through college to get all his tickets.
Oh, brilliant.
And he's kept in touch throughout these first couple of weeks in work. He's taken a day off on Friday because he's mad on the horses, so he's going on the Gold Cup day at Cheltenham. So we're meeting for a cup of tea early in the morning, and it's just so nice when you got somebody who's so positive.
Yeah.
You know, so motivated to get back to work and change the dynamic of where he was headed.
It's really good to see that progression as well from coming, being a veteran, like you said, and being in temporary accommodation to now, obviously still being in temporary accommodation, but to have all that work to get all the stuff that you needed together for you guys to help him with the CV, all those opportunities coming in, and now to know that while he's working, he's also got more training coming, he's got more sort of college courses coming on to help, and it's brilliant. That's like the end goal, isn't it, for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, not everybody is, I mean, he's a really great case study. Lots of other people are going to need different things, a lot more support. They might not have the motivation or the positivity of Pops, but the message I would say to people is the support is there.
Yeah.
The training is there, the process is there, and the people are there who can support you, to get you where you want. Even if it's moving you a little bit closer, that's fine. We can always find extra support for people as well.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, we've mentioned training a lot. You've got a lot of professional training on offer. I believe we've actually got a few pictures now. Could you tell us about what we see coming up on the screen?
Okay.
Here we go.
So yeah, get into CARE. I mean, Chaos TV, Chaos being, the company that you are, the CIC, and with the farm and all the fantastic things you do. Because we're partnered with you, we've got this, fantastic package which will offer people accredited training, and which is really important, the work experience. Mm-hmm. So if we go to, say, the job centre and they say to us, why should we refer somebody to you? We can say we've got accredited training. Not only that, we've got work experience, and we've got opportunities at the end of it. We have great links with local employers. Fantastic. And they're the people who will give people a work trial. They will give people a work experience. They will offer volunteering with training a lot of the time.
Wow.
The voluntary organisation sector, for me, is a fantastic area for people to explore. And the reason why is because most voluntary organisations and most voluntary jobs offer a level of training which you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. So it's always an example. I always think it's a great example of an opportunity that people should look at.
I find there's a lot of enthusiasm from these companies as well that are willing to offer it. They seem to have a different sort of mindset.
Yeah.
They know that they're investing in their future as well as the employee's future, or the volunteer's future, and it works both ways. It's only a bonus for everyone.
It's an opportunity, isn't it, for somebody to get into a workplace where there probably isn't the pressure, because it's not paid at the time, although you are giving up your time to give something back. It's a more relaxed, and it does, even if that workplace, that organisation can't offer you a job during the time you're volunteering, you can bet your bottom dollar you'll meet somebody who will open another door for you.
Yeah.
Just by that networking opportunity. And it's networking without you even knowing it. We have this idea of networking, don't we, going to these parties after work and rubbing shoulders with the CEOs and directors. That to me is not really networking in Cornwall. No. Networking in Cornwall is different. It's very sort of laid back, and it's all word of mouth, but it means, I always say this to people, never turn down a conversation or never turn down an opportunity.
You never know when just a casual conversation that you're having with somebody could actually lead on to something else. You don't know that person might have a link to someone else who's looking for someone in your role. Casual conversation about what you do could turn into a great opportunity later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know.
Yeah, it's a conversation, isn't it, at the end of the day? And it's easy to turn and walk away and not have that conversation. But you can, most of the times you have a conversation, it leads somewhere, doesn't it? Especially in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a few conversations I've had here that have actually turned into links for me, just some volunteer stuff outside, which is absolutely great. And we see it with a lot of people around the building as well, which we love to see and hear about. We've actually got a couple more here to look at as well before we go on to other bits.
Yep, getting to support work, again, pretty much like getting to CARE, but this, as you can see there, mental health first aid, safeguarding, that's the level 3 lifetime award. Connect 5, that's fantastic, that's about mental health and wellbeing. I've done that course myself, how to support people in the workplace. And peer support training, this is great because on a previous project we brought some participants through who were participants. We brought them through towards training, and eventually they went into work in the same sector. And this would be my aim, because particularly in our projects, we've got people who've got lived experience of mental health issues. We've got lived experience of unemployed, and all those, the downside that goes with it. And who better to support people coming through than people who've got that lived experience? Yeah. We can train people, we can give those opportunities, we can support them, but they have that experience which is invaluable.
Yeah.
So that peer support training for me is a fantastic extension to what we're trying to achieve as a project.
Fantastic. Couldn't agree more as well. You need, with any, I find with pretty much anything, if you have somebody with experience, they should be the ones who are up there at the top for being able to teach others or help others through the same situation. Yeah. Who better is there?
Yeah, every experience is unique, isn't it, as well? Whether one person who's unemployed is different to another person's experience of unemployment, but being able to harness that is a fantastic thing to do, and being able to use it as a positive rather than as a negative is even better.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at this last one we've got for you here.
So this is getting to construction, which is basically the pathway that I was talking to you about, Pops and Matthew.
Yes. Yeah.
So Matthew was another guy who did the community project with Pops at the time. He started work this week as a roofer. So they both went through the construction program at the same time, the pathway, did the community project, went on to the CSES training, worked with me to identify jobs and opportunities, and they both started early in January. We're now, halfway through March?
Already, yeah.
And, they're both working.
Going well?
I hope so. I really do. I mean, progress isn't always linear, is it? They're going to have ups and downs. They're going to have obstacles and barriers to overcome. But I think if I'd have said to them when they started on the project that 2.5 months later you'd be in your chosen field of work, I think they would have taken that. And that's down to them. That's down to them. We're here to provide the support and the well-being and the training packages, but they have to want to walk through the door at the end of the day. And it's their positivity and their motivation to want to take the next step, which has taken them to where they want to get.
Brilliant. Really, really good to hear that they've managed to do that as well. We've actually got some photos now of what I assume is the construction training course. Let's have a look. Yeah,
so this is Pops on the left and Matthew on the right, the lads I was just talking to you about. That's the gloomy corridor and a couple of rooms off there, the kitchen and a couple of toilets which they transformed, with our hard work. And so much so that, when people, it wasn't a great place to invite people into.
Right.
Although our offices are very nice, the corridor we call the corridor of gloom. So we used to close the door on that, but now we can show it off with the pictures back up, new lampshades and glistening white paint. So it's a lovely space now.
It's lovely. So this is actually done by the participants themselves?
Yeah, it was done by the participants, yeah.
I mean, that's perfect, isn't it?
Absolutely. And this is the construction project, which is, it's a training site it's an old pub in Helston, which has been brought back into use as a community project. And this is Pops, who was given the job of digging out the footings on an old granite wall, which seem to have quite a lot of in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And what it's about is giving people hands-on, practical skills.
Yeah.
If you want to have a go at being an electrician, if you want to have a go at plastering, if you want to have a go at dry lining, painting, whatever you want to do, that is a place where you can go and get that experience. And not only that, you can get your CSCS card, you can do the theory, you get a health and safety level 1 award, which allows you to work on any construction site in the UK. Perfect.
Now, on top of all this training that you have on offer, there's also the up-and-coming Trilisic Days.
Yeah. Well, this is very exciting because this has only come around in the last couple of days. We've been putting the final details to it, and yeah, it's a bit Ray Mears, isn't it? It's a bit Bear Grylls, bushcraft, and I think making a canoe, axe and spear throwing, well-being and connection skills. And I guess this sums up what Inside Out is really about. It's bringing people from the inside to the outside.
You've got me interested, I won't lie.
Yeah, I must admit, I think we'll be knocking people back for this. I really do, because it's such a fantastic thing. And the idea is, you know, people who've been, you know, behind closed doors for the last couple of years, who may be struggling to come out and saying, you know, the best thing to do is just get back in the outdoors, you know, look around you, you know, experience skills that probably you wouldn't be able to get not many of these packages, this type of training package, you know, and this type of, it's fun, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Exactly, it is.
That's what it's about. Put a little bit of fun back in people's lives. They'll learn new skills, they'll meet new people, and they'll go away from that feeling hopefully a little bit more motivated to achieve what they want to achieve.
Fantastic. It's been lovely chatting to you about this. I'm a bit conscious of the time, so a big thank you for coming in to tell us obviously more about all this today. We're always interested in what's happening with CLEAR and the Inside Out project. It'd be lovely to have you on the show again, Sean, one day.
I'd be delighted, and thank you very much for having us on today.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Don't go anywhere, folks, because coming up next we have got our What's On Here segment. But if you have missed any of this segment or anything today, and you want to get in contact with anyone or any group that we have mentioned, don't hesitate to get in contact with us here at Chaos, and we will signpost you on the way. 01872 22 8844, WhatsApp or call us, just get the bill payer's permission. You can email us, hello@thisischaos.co.uk, and we're on social media at Chaos TV UK. Use the hashtag KeepItChaos, and we'll send you to the right people.